good enclosure design is essential in the zoos of today, not only providing high welfare for animals, but also enriching the experience of zoo visitors. Keeper welfare and convenience must also be taken into account. In today's video, I'll break down the factors a zoo needs to take into account when designing an enclosure and the features that make a great design. Firstly, all zoos should fulfill the 5 animal welfare needs, which are the need for a suitable environment, the need for a suitable diet, the need to be able to carry out normal behaviour, the need to be housed with or apart from other animals, and the need to be protected from pain, injury, suffering, and disease. Fulfilling all of these will help to provide good animal welfare. So now, let's first focus on the animal's enclosure itself. Firstly, one of the most important things in enclosure design is creating a natural environment to allow an animal to carry out its natural behaviours. An animal's wild habitat should be mimicked as well as possible in a zoo enclosure to make an animal feel as wild as possible. The more natural an enclosure, the more appealing it is for zoo visitors. Varying the terrain and pathways in an enclosure, like how it is in the wild, can be enriching for animals. Natural features such as logs, rocks, and dense foliage can help with this. These features can also provide important cover and shelter for a zoo animal, and this brings me into the next point. Providing hiding places and areas where an animal can escape the view of the public is an essential part of zoo enclosure design. If an animal cannot get away from people, then it can become stressed very quickly. Outdoor shelters such as caves or burrows and off-show indoor houses are great ways to provide privacy for a zoo animal. A vital part of a good enclosure is appropriate sizing. Minimum enclosure size requirements must at least be met, but zoos should go above and beyond this, providing their animals with large spaces to roam. An enclosure should have a wow factor. They should be nice to look at and have some unique qualities to help set the zoo apart from others. Enclosure theming really allows zoos to help fulfill this. Now, moving on to my next point, which is enrichment. Enrichment is an absolutely essential part of zoo animal welfare, and it should be regularly provided for animals. Enrichment can be anything that stimulates an animal, giving it something to focus on. This helps to prevent things such as boredom and stereotypical behaviours. Some enrichment, such as a pool or a climbing structure, can be built into an enclosure, and other enrichment can be added in and taken out regularly. A great form of enrichment can be a mixed species enclosure, housing animals together that would naturally live together in the wild. Predator-prey setups can also be used, where a predator and prey are housed separately but are able to see each other. However, a zoo should ensure that this doesn't cause a large amount of stress for both of the species. Now onto the visitor element of enclosure design. It is important that an enclosure and its surrounding area is appealing to a visitor, and this can be achieved through making it look very natural, like I mentioned earlier. Immersing a visitor in the world of the animal will create a great experience. Enclosure viewing areas are important as they should provide a good look into the enclosure but also not make the animals feel too exposed, so a balance should be found. Viewing areas can vary in design, from fences to glass windows to elevated platforms. Zoos can specially design these viewing areas to fit the theme of an enclosure to help increase immersion. Enclosures should have clear and bold signage as well as some interactive elements. These will encourage visitors to spend longer at the enclosure and learn more about the species. If a visitor learns more about a species, this could encourage them to help support the zoo or conservation projects to do with that species. Finally, an enclosure should be keeper suitable, allowing the keepers to easily care for the animal in every way needed. For example, having multiple sliding doors and enclosure sections are really helpful, as the animals can be moved around when cleaning is required. Keeper safety is absolutely essential, so enclosures should be designed appropriately and their condition should be regularly checked. So, those are some of the main elements for a good enclosure design. I could go much more into detail about this, but then the video could be hours long. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this video and learned a thing or two about enclosure design. Thank you for watching.